a regular thing. Came for the ring, you know what I mean. I shoot my shot and it's clean. This for my city, yeah, this for my team. If you talking, it's how to be nice. I play with all of my life. You see my name in the lights. Better get right, champion. I'm a team. If you talking, it's how to be nice. I play with all of my life. You see my name in the lights. Better get right, champion.
Ladies and there we go. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. It is a Monday version of the YSN Live podcast. DJ Yoakley and the one, the only, the dean of all things sports in our valley, ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Hartwig. Ant, how was your weekend, buddy?
First show of March. Here we go. Yeah, my weekend was good. Went down to Canton and watched the Hoban boys and girls play. Girls fell a little short. Boys moving on to the regionals. It was a fun day in Canton. And I know you made that trip to Cleveland. Didn't really go our way. Tough one. Nope. Tough trip to Cleveland.
Yeah, it was. It was. I mean, listen, I think our hands were full in both scenarios for Poland and South Range. Lutheran East. Good night, sweet prince. I mean, a 6'8" junior forward named TJ Crumble, and if his name doesn't kill you, his game sure will. That dude is legit. But hey, Poland, tip of the cap to you, and here's why. They didn't back down at all. The score is going to not look great. Score doesn't look great at all. However, what I'm going to tell you is they were outgunned. They knew it. Every team mostly walking into a gym with Lutheran East is going to sit there and go, how? Anthony, I kid you not. I said this twice during the broadcast. They warmed up. Poland's over there doing their typical warm-ups, which is what you see in most gyms in the United States. Mm-hmm. The Falcons were warming up, hitting this is not an exaggeration. I'm only laughing because I think it is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. They were hitting their foreheads off of the rim. Like jumping up, touching the rim with their forehead.
That's an intimidation factor. Guys, you look over. Guys, I think we're going to lose.
There wasn't a whole lot of I don't think that went through their mind. I just think that there was a lot of people on the Poland side looking, and they're like, if their head touches the rim, what does that mean their arm can do?
And that's creative because you're not allowed to dunk during warm-ups. It'll be automatic technical foul. So since we can't dunk, we're just going to show people that we can by making sure our heads touch the rim.
There was a dunk, might have been two dunks, that there was I think it was Crumble that went up and just like spike ball through it. Like didn't touch the rim, didn't just like threw it through. Not sure I've ever seen that before. Like they were doing everything not to touch the rim.
Right.
And then I will say that the coolest part of the game for me, because there weren't many highlights. They guarded Tukalo like you wouldn't believe. They just would not let him get any open looks at the basket until late in the game when it was already in hand. And they, at the end of the first half, they, meaning the Poland Bulldogs, swatted TJ Crumble twice, right at the buzzer. And he turned around, and I was real excited on the call. I was real intimidated because he just turned around like, I'm going to get you for that one. And,
to all to the Poland players.
Huh? It wasn't me. It wasn't. No,
okay.
I
thought
was
you meant like you were excited.
I was safely in my above the crowd. I was safely. I had a security guard there. We were good, but it was one of those things that I was every little piece of Poland I could get. I mean, obviously that's our team, right? Mm-hmm. That's the team that we follow all year. I was impressed with Lutheran East, but like Poland wasn't going to sit there and wave the white flag. They weren't going to sit there. There was no towel in Eric Fender's pocket to throw out and say, we're done. And I was impressed with that. I was impressed with Oliver McCulley and the guts that he had throughout the entire day, because he and Jacob Hayes, they had the short straw. They were guarding the bigs. And those guys were incredible. But I will say this, Lutheran East, not afraid to shoot it from downtown Cleveland. It was incredible. They'd pull up wherever they wanted to on the floor ant, just chuck it. And they weren't hitting at a high rate, but I think they knew, especially in the first quarter, the amount of rebounds they were able to get, and they weren't running plays. They were just playing ball. And I think teams are able to do that. It's going to be a problem. I just talked to Chris Brooks, who's on the Canfield coaching staff, and he said the team that that Canfield's playing this week, they just play ball. So you can't scout their plays, because there's nothing to it. It's just fluid basketball. So
and the only thing you can do against that is if you're as talented and big as they are, and then you also play, fundamental basketball where you run plays, then that might be a problem if you just want to. Because if a team is as big as you and as talented as you, and then they slow you down too, that's when teams like Lutheran East might get in trouble. The problem is, I don't think there's another team in the state in Division 5 that fits that mold. Like, the blueprint is there, but you still have to have the tools and the know-how to use the blueprint. And I think a lot of teams in the state are going to be opening up that blueprint and going, I do not have that, or that, what do I do?
Well, Crumble is being chased by 25 D1 programs, right?
Right.
That was the rumor.
There's just not a lot you can do against that.
No, and then they've got shooters. And I remember going up to Coach Carton after the game, and I kind of just went, are those guys all going to the next level? And TJ Irons and Coach Carton both kind of just went, yeah, probably. And then they told me that Crumble has so many offers, and big time Florida State, Ohio State. I think they said Penn State, Wisconsin, and about 21 other schools that are looking at that young man, and for good reason. I mean, and I went down and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go get a bottle of water, some popcorn, and I walked right next to DJ Crumble, and I was like, oh my gosh, he is two of me easily. Like, he's just humongous, and just he's very skillful and graceful on the court, and he pulled a 3 too. So it's not like he can't stretch out a big, but around here, we don't have many 6'8" power forwards, especially as juniors, to saddle up against him. So, it was a really, really tough game for Poland. But naturally, Poland shows up. They travel well. And then I want to give a tip of the cap. This is probably going to be my spark as well. But South Range community filled up that gym against Norway. Mm-hmm. And, man, was it awesome. So awesome to see. Obviously things didn't go our way. The ball just wasn't flushing. Just wasn't going in. And there were a couple stretches. But, we weren't getting the boards we were looking for. We tried to make it a physical game, and referees weren't exactly having that, so not what you want. But when you look around that gym, and I looked around during the Poland game, and I was like, man, this is awesome. Yeah. People rip on our basketball programs and the way we play basketball and the success of our basketball programs around this area and this region. It doesn't matter. We still show up. If our boys or our girls are playing, we're showing up. And there's a South Range spilled over into the home stands. Like, we owned the stands over there, except for a little portion, and about 7 of the Norwayn kids that were screaming, quote unquote, student section that were just loud mouths. Good for them. I'm not criticizing. Just, start the bus chants and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, all right. And then
if you only have 7, you better be loud, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, maybe that's their JV team. I don't know. But it got chippy, in the South Range game, and it was really interesting to see. And I was really proud and you can take this however you want. I was proud of Nick Toy because he's just a freshman, but he's got I want to say it was a senior, really, really good sharpshooting point guard. I want to say Metzger was his name. They kind of got into a little bit, and Toy didn't back down. And
Right.
a lot of people could probably sit there and be like, okay, we don't want that. No. I want to see that. If I'm Pat Carden, I want to see that out of my freshman forward. And first off, Toys don't back down from anybody.
No.
Doesn't matter what age they are. But it was cool to see that and not like in a obnoxious way. There was just like a little bit of the shoulder, bumping shoulders and stuff like that. And Toy didn't, he didn't act like a freshman. He acted like what I would expect out of a senior or, even older, someone who, who's been there, done that. So very, very cool. Not exactly what we wanted to see, but from a victory standpoint, but you know what? Only one team gets to win, and only one team gets the trophy at the end of the year. So,
and at the end of the show, we'll talk about the teams that didn't make it and the teams that are still alive.
Yeah, we will, because right now, my friend, we have the third year state qualifier, back-to-back team, first team All-Ohio recognition, always impressive. Finishing second place this year with 668. Ladies and gentlemen, from the great city of East Liverpool, one of the best bowlers in the entire area, we welcome Addison Rudabaugh. Addison, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We're well, thank you very much. Thanks for taking some time for us today. Congratulations on all your success. It's been fun to watch you. Obviously the last 3 years had to be like a roller coaster ride, had to be like something out of a dream, a fairy tale, if you will. What have they been like for you, if you could put them into words?
It's been awesome. It's been like a dream come true, making it to States the past 3 years. Ever since I was little, I always wanted to go to States for bowling in high school. So it's just basically a dream come true.
Addison, for a lot of people, state would be like the big lights, and then you might have some nerves. But it seemed like when I look at the scores for your state, I mean, you did not have any of that, and you had a really successful weekend down in Columbus. So what was it like for you to just kind of deal with the pressure and the nerves that comes with going to state and perform so well down there this weekend?
I really wasn't nervous because it was my third time. I've been saying every time before I bowl, it's going to be a good day. It's going to be a good day. And I have that mindset in my head. But going back to 3 years ago, my first time going, I was so nervous because I was a sophomore coming in by myself, and having all them people down there is just like a big, just big for me. But coming into my last year going down, I really didn't have many nerves with going 3 times.
All right, so bowling is very competitive, but you're not really going up against each other. You're going up against yourself a lot of times in those lanes. You just kind of let the scores fall where they will. For you, how do you keep yourself motivated, but also not, kind of intimidating yourself by looking up at the scoreboard and things of that nature?
My mental game, I try to keep myself motivated. My dad really motivates me. He'll be like, come on, this is our game. You're going to shoot big. You just got to stay focused. But I don't really have a way to motivate myself. I always just say it's just another day of bowling. So that's how I really do it.
When we talk about this year's tournament and how it went, you came out in the first round and you had a huge number that you put up. How much did that kind of relax you and say, okay, I got 2 more, but now I can just I set the tone early and I don't have to play catch up the next 2. What did that first score help you? I think it was 2-4 in the 240s.
So I had an open in the first game and it really set me off. But after that open, my dad was like, come on, you gotta mentally stay there. It's going to be fine. It's going to be a big game. But coming into the second game, it really I had a couple opens, and so that really hit me. But then the last game, my dad was like, okay, this is our big game. We're going to shoot big. And I was like, I'm going to shoot at 300. And he was like, all right, that's your mindset then. And then I struck out for like a long time, but then I ended up opening. So
The frustration of not hitting that 300, probably the same frustration that I have when I don't break 100 with the bumpers up on the lanes. For you, how do you when you sit there? You said you struck out all those times, and then all of a sudden, frustration sets in because you missed one. How do you rebound from that? Obviously, there's a mental aspect, but do you
Mhm.
change? I mean, are you like a pitcher in baseball or softball where you have to change the release or change what you're doing, or is it just constant every single time?
So consistency is key. You want to be consistent, but when I had that 10 pin, my heart was racing so bad because I was basically shooting for 300. So it's like nerve wracking because you're going to do it in front of all these people for states. And when I shot the 10 pin, left it, my dad was like, I was like, my heart was racing. Like I knew it was going to happen. And my dad was like, my heart was racing too for you. But after that, I kind of just regrouped and was like, okay, come on, we got to get back on track. Just strike out. Everything will be fine. Just shoot the best you can.
We also know that every lane is a little bit different on how it's oiled, how it's going to react to your ball, how it's going to spin. How long does it take you to kind of adjust to that and kind of realize how that lane's going to play that you're on any given day?
It starts with practice. We have at States, we had 15 minutes of practice. We also had practice the night before. Practice the night before played so much different than it did the day of States. So when we practiced in the morning, I kind of tried 2 different balls to see which one played the best, where I could line up and get it out. And I figured out that the ball that I used for States that worked the best. But when we moved to the second pair, like when we moved the lanes for the second game, I kind of struggled getting started, and I had a couple spares that I missed. But then in the third game, I kind of like found my way back to like where I was. But even everyone struggled on the second pair that we played on. Everyone struggled on it, so it must have just been that pair that everyone. It was just a big struggle for everybody.
Addison, when did you realize that bowling was your sport? When did you realize that you were exceptional at it? Was it at a birthday party? Was it you just were like kicking everybody's tail and everybody else is eating pizza and you're just dominating them?
So bowling's been in my family forever. My dad owns our local bowling alley. So I've been bowling ever since I was like 2, basically, ever since I could walk. So it's just been like ever since I was little, I've just done it, and it's just been in our family forever. So I kind of was born with it.
Is there something about it other than the family connection that you think like you made you fall in love with it and made you hook on to bowling? Is there something that you love the most about the sport?
I love the connections that you can make with people. Like I've met people from all around. Like I went to Michigan, Indiana, Columbus, North Carolina, New Jersey. Like I've been all around. I've met so many people. It's just a great way to meet new people from different states.
All right, so you mentioned the 300. How many times have you bowled a 300 in your career?
One time.
One time. You remember? Obviously, you remember where it was.
It was at our home alley. It was I was on lane 7 and 8. It was just me and my brother bowling, and it was actually after our teacher-student bowl-a-thon thing we do every year for our school. And I was just bowling, and it was like usually my heart starts racing, but I didn't even know like I had that many strikes in a row, and I was just going, and it was just such an amazing thing because my grandpa was there to witness it.
So does that mean that someone had to tell you bowled the 300 when you did, or were you kind of aware in the 10th frame, like, okay, I'm close, and then that last strike you knew you had it?
No, I looked up and I was like, my brother's name's Grady, and I was like, Grady, I'm gonna bowl a 300, and he was like, what? And then I noticed like my grandpa was standing there, and he was recording me, and there was these people bowling beside me, and they were like, wow, are you professional? And I was like, no. They're like, but that's so awesome. We got to witness you do that.
Not yet, but soon.
Yeah.
Right.
So you said you grew up in the lanes. You grew up in the bowling alley. Your parents owned the bowling alley back home in East Liverpool. So when you look at that, I mean, how many? Just a rough estimate. How many games have you played bowling? If you had to guess, just pulling a number out of the sky, because that's got to be an incredible amount of quote unquote practice and balls rolled down the aisle or down the alley rather?
Oh, I don't know, because I've bowled like 12 games in one day, just like being there, just bowling for fun. Like if I get bored, I'll just go down and bowl. So
Do
I
you
don't
have
really
like
know.
do you have like obviously you have your own ball. Do you have like a multitude of balls from that standpoint like they do in Kingpin and things of that nature?
So I have 8 right now because I just got a new one. So I have 8 altogether.
Are there any cool ones? Like one with a rose in it?
No.
Oh, come
No.
on.
I have a it's a VIP, it's called VIP, and it's like a collector's item. There's only so many of them, so I just keep it because it's cracked, so I can't use it no more.
Oh, gotcha.
Cracking bowling balls because it's just you can't handle your power. When you think about I've watched the videos. I know everyone likes it has different releases that they like to have. So, what's your go-to release? How do you what style do you prefer when you're bowling?
I don't really know. That's like a hard question. I really don't know. I just
Between the legs.
Come in. Between the legs.
no.
Trick shots.
I'm not a two-hander. I'm a one-hander,
Right.
basically. But I don't really have. I have a 4-step. Like I do 4 steps, but I don't really know.
Do you have any trick shots?
No, I can pick up some splits.
What's the biggest split you've picked up?
Oh, I don't really know. 3, 6, 10, 7. That's a pretty hard one to get.
That's a dang good one.
I feel like we're speaking Spanish right now. I'm going to be honest. I have no idea what the heck either of you two are talking about. So I'm going to go back to what I know best, and that's food. You grow up in a bowling alley. What's the best bowling alley food that you know?
So my family owns the sub shop next door. Well, my dad does. So I would say a turkey sandwich.
Because the turkey.
That's my go-to.
The turkey, the three strikes in a row. He gets
Or
it.
I get it.
Last week we were talking about sports movies. Do you have a favorite bowling movie out there? There's only a couple of them.
I've only watched Kingpin.
Have you ever seen The Big Lebowski?
Don't know what that is.
Okay, there it is. There's another bowling movie for you. Also not on the top 100 or top 50, in case you were wondering, Addison.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
So for you, obviously representing East Liverpool, a big deal. I mean, that's a town with a lot of pride, a lot of tradition. When you put that blue and white on, what does it mean to you?
It's such an honor, like to have like the school standing behind me and the community and my family and my friends, just having everyone there, like wearing that color, supporting me, and everyone knowing that I'm from East Liverpool. That's just such an honor to have.
While we're talking about school support, on Thursday, you got to walk through the elementary school and the high school to kind of feel the school's support and feel the student body support of you before you left for state. What does that moment kind of feel like for you to be able to kind of walk through the halls and feel everyone's support for you?
Obviously, it's so amazing to have like the little kids being able to like experience us walking through the halls, because I'm in early childhood. So the school that we went to, like Croft, that's the school that my kids are at. And just having like all of the little kids there, like clapping you on and supporting you, it's just such a great thing. And my mom's a teacher at La Croft, so it's like such a big like thing for her that she loves it. She actually had one of her students today. Here, I'll read you what one of her students said. She texted me this. One of her students said, Braxton just said your daughter should be on the wall at the bowling alley, not that guy Jack. I replied and said she's going to get a banner. He said she will be like Michael Jordan. That is just like such a big like crazy thing for a little kid to say, like they should be up there. So I think it's so cute.
That's huge because two things. You should get a banner. And secondly, so glad they said Michael Jordan, not Michael Jackson. That
I did not mean to say Michael Jackson.
way too deep for an elementary school. For you, obviously you're very good at math, especially with multiples of 10. What is your favorite subject in school and why?
I don't know. I like math. Math is the only class I have this year. It's financial literacy. I think it's fun because you're getting to learn about like how write checks and how to keep your balance for when after high school. So it helps you with later in life.
Well, I'm glad you know how to write checks, but I'm even more happy for you that it sounds like you're going to know how to cash them here with your game naturally. Anthony, last question.
My last question for you is, what are some ways, things that you're going to be doing in the future? What are some things that you want after high school that are in your future?
So I am not going to college for bowling my first year. I'm just going to go to Kent Salem in Salem, a local community school. But I really wanted to bowl in college, but I really am just not good at school. So I'm just going to get started and then maybe open up into the portal my sophomore year. But I want to do PBA like regionals and get started into the PBA. And I also want to coach. I'm going to come back to East Liverpool and maybe coach with my dad as the assistant coach, which is a big thing to me because I've always wanted to coach bowling. And then I'm also going to maybe start coaching little kids, like to get them started for when they get into high school. Because I have my coaching degree through the USBC I got, I think my sophomore year I got. So I just really want to coach, but I also want to be in the PWBA and focus on school.
Well, good for you. That's awesome. Those are great goals.
Thank
One
you.
thing I haven't been able to get out of my mind is how many times you've alluded to your dad and your mom. I know they mean a ton to you. Talk to me about how they've made you into this young lady that you are today, the role model that you've become, and obviously the coach that you're going to be.
My parents have done everything for me. They've supported me through everything. They've traveled. We've gotten up at like 5 o'clock in the morning, drove to Columbus. We went to North Carolina for like 2 nights just for bowling. They've done everything for me. And my dad's been my coach forever. So it's just like a big, thank you to them because they've done everything for me ever since I was little. They've spent so much money on bowling stuff, but just a big.
That's huge. Hey, to your parents, congratulations on all their success, on all your success. What a great young lady you have become. We're so proud of you, and look forward to seeing. Hope maybe we'll do a coach's corner with you and your dad here in the coming year.
I'd love that. That'd be
Addison,
awesome.
You're wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. Congratulations on all your success, and certainly, I think the sky's the limit for you, kiddo.
Thank you.
You got it. Thank you very much. There she goes. Addison Rudabaugh of East Liverpool. Anthony, I'm not going to lie, got halfway through that interview. You guys were talking bowling, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, I don't know anything other than how to go up and order the nachos at the front desk and make sure that the shoes don't stink too bad for the rental shoes. So.
Oh no, yeah, I did a little. I mean, I'm not a bowling expert at all. I just tried to get a little knowledgeable, so I knew a little bit of what I was talking about during that interview. But one of the things that bowling has maybe one of the best sound bites of any any sport, because remember that one guy, he picked up a strike to win a big tournament, and he's like, "Who do you think you are? I am." Have you ever seen that clip?
Nope.
Who do you think
you're on your own? I mean, you're on your own, sailor. I've never seen that.
Look it up. It's a hilariously awesome soundbite. I'm not doing it anywhere justice, but if you're out there, you know what I'm talking about. Let people know, and if you're not, then go watch it because it's great.
Oh, I don't even know where you start to Google that. Who do you think you are? I am.
That would pretty much do it. I think that would nail it if you Googled that.
Thank you to Addison Rudabaugh for her time today. Congratulations on all her success, man. She's got quite the resume to ride out into the sunset with, right? I mean, you look at what she's been able to do over her career. State runner-up this year. Back-to-back first-team All-Ohio's, 3-time state qualifier. And that's not something that you just kind of push to the side.
No, and then to have probably her best rounds of the tournament at state this year. I mean, you look at the numbers that she put up. She had two rounds over 240, ended with a 268, which was 267 in her last round, which the second highest round in the state. Only one girl had a higher round in the whole state, at the tournament than 268 and then 267, and it was a 268 from the girl that finished in fourth. So it was just an incredible performance, and I know you go there, you want first place, but second place ain't that bad when you're talking 50 plus bowlers that are competing for it.
And she's chasing a 300 in state.
Yeah.
And she's talking about her heart racing. I'm sitting there like I'd be dead on the floor. Like I wouldn't be able to. There would be no palpitations in my heart because there would be no beating because I'd be dead. Like to be chasing, that'd be like hitting 4 grand slams in a state championship baseball or softball game.
6 strikes in. This DJ's face down on the lanes.
Night. That's it. I'm out. So thank you to Addison for stopping by. Again, congratulations on all her success. And we got another visitor here, and this one, pretty good little ball player.
Speaking of chasing, he's chasing a regional championship.
Now, this dude is the silent assassin. This guy he flies under the radar until it's game day, and then he fills up the stat sheet. You mentioned chasing a regional championship, just winning the district championship on Saturday, as part of our 1:00 game. And ladies and gentlemen, this young man, one of the best on the floor at all times. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we bring in Bryce Roberts from Canfield. What's up, Bryce?
What's up? Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being on, dude. All right, first we got to ask you, district championship, obviously you guys are used to putting up points. That was a low-scoring defensive game. Were there points in that game where you're sitting there thinking, okay, if we don't start putting some points on the scoreboard, we might be in a little bit of trouble?
Yeah, there was definitely parts of that game. Offensively, it was definitely a low-scoring game, but we knew coming into it that our defense was going to have to be elite because we knew West Branch was a really good team. And all week in practice, we were working on defensive assignments to slow them down. And I feel like even though it was a low-scoring game, I feel like our defense definitely helped us to win that game.
Yeah, I want to talk about it a little bit more because I know people see the talent that you have on the floor and the scoring ability that this team has, and sometimes they get the rep of they're a high-scoring team. But how good was it to feel like we can win in different ways? If you want to play a low-scoring game, we can do that. We can play defense and we can win that way. How much did that mean to you guys to be able to prove to yourselves and everyone else that's something that can happen if a team wants to play that style of basketball?
Yeah, it definitely means a lot because throughout the season, we've put up 70, 80-point games. So, even in the district championship, knowing that we can play lockdown defense and pretty much stop anyone offensively, it definitely gives our team a lot of confidence going into the regionals.
I'm really interested in this one because from my standpoint, one of the best team basketball teams to be out there is the Canfield Cardinals. You guys, any 5 players on the court at once, anybody can fill it up, anybody can rebound, anybody can D up. What is that a testament to? I mean, is this something you guys have always had, or has Coach Andy come in and really put the lockdown on you guys and understanding that the 5 guys that are out there on the floor should never have a drop-off if someone comes in to sub in?
Yeah, well, you definitely have to give a lot of credit to Coach Fee because he definitely prepares us every week and every day in practice to get ready for our games. But overall, I feel like our team, we just have great chemistry on and off the court. We love playing with each other, and we don't really care who scores the most points. We're just really competitive and just out there to win.
So let's talk about some of the things this year that you think have been such a crucial addition, or I don't want to mean addition, crucial aspect to the team's success. You're coming off a year where you got to the regional finals, and you never want to lose that steam, but you lost a couple of really big players last year. Talk about coming into this year and some of the kids that stepped up and how you haven't missed a beat as a program, and what some of the keys to that are.
Yeah, this year, all of our senior class is really deep. They're a great class. They're the most winningest class to ever come through Canfield. So, just the experience and the leadership of the senior class has definitely helped us this year. So I would say that definitely helped us to win another district title, and it's probably going to help us go pretty far in the regionals too.
Bryce, there seems to be an expectation when you wear the Cardinal that you guys are always in any game, no matter who it is against, no matter what sport it's in. For you, when you wear that Cardinal, when you put that red and white on with the black mixed in, what does it mean to you?
Yeah, it means everything. I mean, once you put on that red, white, and black, I mean, just knowing that you have your whole community behind you, everyone coming to watch your game, supporting you, it means a lot because our community and our fans are always there supporting us at home or away games, no matter how far. So it's definitely a great feeling, and it definitely gives us a great atmosphere to play in on game nights.
When
I'm
you're
loving
talking
that
about
icy white, by the way.
yeah,
That is fresh, dude.
Yeah, thank you.
when you're talking about the tradition of this program, who are some guys that you think maybe set the tone for you as a younger player that kind of you looked up to or you wanted to be like when you grew up into the program?
I would definitely say like when I was younger, watching like point guards like Ethan Kalina, Ben Shapiro, and even last year, just me being a sophomore, definitely like Dom Cruz and Tony Russo. All of those guys definitely taught me a lot of different leadership skills, and they've definitely taught me a lot of good lessons that I can use going into this year and my senior year as well.
All right, we got to talk about your influences along the way. Who have been some of the biggest influencers in your life on and off the court?
I would definitely say my parents, my mom and dad. My mom played basketball in college, and then my dad played football. So they've definitely taught me a lot about sports and just like sports in general. So I would say definitely them going to rebound for me, going to take me like 2.5 hours to AAU tournaments and practices. They've definitely been a big influence on my life.
Yeah, there's some basketball on that lineage. You go to your mom, who's I believe on the program all-time scoring list at South Range, and then goes on to play at Westminster. What's it like to have someone to grow up with like that is so good at basketball, obviously, and you can ask a lot of questions about?
Yeah, it means a ton. I mean, she was a great player, and definitely I love just asking her like different things, like to help me with my game, all the hard work and all the preparation it takes to be great. And she's definitely taught me a lot about like mindset and confidence and how to just use your preparation and hard work to be great.
I mean, I'm just gonna say I just became a huge fan of your family because she's a Westminster grad. So as am I. So I guess that begs the question: do you see yourself playing at the next level? What things do you think you have to work on from this point forward to get to where you want to be and put yourself in a position that somebody's going to reach out and say, "Hey, we want to see Bryce Roberts in a blank uniform for the next 4 years"?
I would say I would for sure probably want to play in college. My dad also graduated from Westminster too. He was a football player. So, but I would definitely say, yeah, I definitely need to work on, to be honest, all parts of my game. I feel like you can't really be perfect at this game, so you always have to continue working and continuing to get better at all parts of basketball. But I would say for sure, I would definitely like an opportunity to play in college.
I just became a huge Bryce Roberts fan right now. Like right now. Huge fan. Bryce, tighten up, baby.
Bryce, when you think about some of the things that mean the most to you when you're having success and you're celebrating and things like that, you just celebrated district championship. What kind of things come into your mind when you're celebrating like that? You get kind of reflective, or do you get kind of overly hyped? What are some things that go through your head when you get to celebrate a big wins like a district championship?
I would say I get a mix of emotions. I mean, a ton of happiness, a ton of joy, and at the same time, a ton of like relief too, because me and my teammates during this off season, we've put in a ton of work, a ton of preparation to get us to this moment. So, it definitely felt great to go into that district championship game, leave it all out there, and get our second one in a row.
Bryce, this might be a little bit off the reservation, but do you happen to know your interior designer? Because it really looks like Chip and Joanna Gaines was decorating whatever room you're in right now.
I don't know actually, but I mean, this was definitely something by my mom and dad. They definitely did all this in the kitchen and stuff. So yeah.
We're not used to that kind of backdrop, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm sitting there. I'm like, wow, those are some great cabinets, and I guarantee my wife's saying the same thing right now, watching at home.
Today on HCTV,
that's it.
We're live.
We are full spectrum here at YSN. We're covering interior decorating. No, serious question for you. What is the part of your game that you want to work on the most? What is the part of the game that you're most comfortable with and you think is the best part of your game that you bring to the floor every night?
I would say the best part of my game is probably just like the energy and the shooting ability that I bring to the floor. You know, I've always kind of been a pretty good shooter, and that's definitely been something I've been working a ton on, just getting into the gym, getting up a ton of shots before, during, and after practice. But I also feel like I definitely need to work on a lot of parts of my game, especially like driving to the rim, getting more physical and finishing around the rim, and playing better defense too. I feel like that's definitely a big thing that could help me.
Bryce, every school, every player at their own school has something that makes it feel like home to them when they're playing home games, whether it be something special about their gym, something special about the community. What makes Canfield really feel like a home court advantage when you're playing home games in Canfield?
I would for sure say our fans. I mean, our fans in our community and our students always show out. They're always creating a great atmosphere for us when we play. So, you know, when it's a home game, no matter what team we're playing, no matter what time during the day or day of the week, they're always there showing out and getting us ready to play.
Have you had any nicknames given to you along the way that either have caught on or haven't caught on?
So my teammates, when I was a freshman, everyone started calling me Brob because my name is Bryce Roberts. So that's a big thing. And then my mom pretty much just calls me B sometimes. So that's pretty much the only nicknames. But Brob definitely has stuck.
Brob.
Basketball team.
I like Brob.
Yeah.
The big question, like, do you like Brob, or is that something that's like you roll your eyes, like I can't believe I got stuck with this?
Freshman year, I was kind of like, dang, this isn't the greatest nickname. But, you know, as time went on, it never really went away. So, you know, I'm fine with it now. It's kind of stuck.
The incredible Brob.
Yeah.
All right. So from nicknames to what you want to do in your future. I know you're just a junior, but what things can you see yourself doing in your future? What things do you want to accomplish, maybe off the floor, and maybe on it? Is there a record out there that you want to break and keep your name at in the halls of Canfield High?
I would say personal records, maybe breaking Dom Cruz's 3-point record. That would maybe be cool, just because we're great friends and we had a great relationship last year when he was a senior. But I'll for sure say hopefully getting back next year to the districts and regionals. I would say that would be a huge goal. But for the future, I would say in college, I'd definitely like to play college basketball and get an opportunity to play. And I would say other than that, for college, I'm probably going to major in something in the medical field. It's kind of what I'm interested in. So yeah, it's pretty much the plans.
Westminster. Excuse me. Sorry.
What got you interested in wanting to be inside the medical field, though? What got you into that career path?
I have some family members, like aunts and uncles, that are in the medical field. But also, like when I was younger, 7th and 8th grade, I've had like a lot of knee injuries from like basketball and football, and I've been injured quite a bit. So I feel like definitely just going to the doctor and doing a lot of rehab and stuff, it definitely sparked an interest for me.
I can hear it right now. You're in the middle of a hospital. Paging Dr. Brob. Paging Dr. Brob. Bryce, dude, we're so excited for you. Best of luck to you this week as you guys chase that regional and you know the countdown is on, man, to win a state championship, to put another state championship in the halls of Canfield High School. That obviously has to be the ultimate goal. And we're proud of you. We're excited for you and your teammates and your coaches and your community. Thanks for spending some time with us today, and best of luck in your future. And you're always welcome here, dude.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You got it. There he goes. Bryce Roberts. What a great kid. What a great young man. Very humble. That is 100% Chip and Joanna Gaines. I'm telling you right now, Anthony. I've seen enough of those shows in passing and having my wife watch that show that is 100% inspired by Chip and Joanna Gaines. So, but his game is inspired certainly, like he said, by the ones that came before him. And man, he is electric. If you watch him play, he always seems to know where he's going with the basketball, and he's very full of intent, if that makes any sense. Like he always knows what he's going to do, and he doesn't care if it's him putting the ball in the bucket or if it's him dishing the apples or doing the dishes, or going up and being selfless and rebounding and just being a guy out on the floor that can contribute at any time. And Coach V's got to love that. I love a guy like that.
And it really helps to have two parents that have kind of been there, been successful in high school, got to college. They know exactly what it takes, not just on the floor talent wise, but also work ethic and attitude, and the way that they've raised him shows that he knows what it takes to be a really successful player on the court, but a successful person off the court too.
No doubt. And, to only, I mean, he's got another year left.
Right.
So you look at the growth that he's probably had from his freshman year to his sophomore year to his junior year. And what we can only imagine is going to be a huge step, because that, to me, it always is the biggest step between in your career in high school, your junior year to your senior year. And there's some people that buckle and there's some people that peak. And you look at what the trajectory is for this young man, and I think it's arrow up and to the right all the way. So really excited to see the progression on him, because, dude, if he progresses at all, that is one hell of a basketball player, straight up. And that's only going to help Canfield go further and further as they continue to go. So, hey, Cardinals, go get it. We're proud of you. Well done.
He's going to have a lot of responsibilities next year, because they are graduating a pretty big and pretty good senior class. So
sure,
he's gonna junior to senior year can be a different transition based on where you're kind of lined up. Like if you're a junior and you only have one senior ahead of you in a big junior class, you kind of get like, this is a year where we've already had to lead a little bit. But when you're a junior and you're looking up and you have a big senior class, that means a lot to your team. Going next year, like, this is my time, and the other juniors as well, our time to kind of step up and be the leaders that we've been taught how to be by the seniors before us. So it's going to be a really big step up next year for him, and I know he's ready for it.
Well, and you look at this across the board in the teams that we cover and the teams that go far, and leadership is a huge – it is a huge thing. It's a big thing that goes, I think, often overlooked, because you look at the seniors on teams like Canfield and South Range and Ursuline and Poland, and I mean, the list goes on. And Canfield, like, you look at them and you go, okay, well, next year seniors will just, fill those shoes. And it's not always like that.
Yeah, it's not a guarantee.
No, there's opportunity, and sometimes the opportunity is realized and sometimes it is just pushed aside. And I think we can all relate to a team that we thought was going to be able to rebound and fill in those shoes, and they just didn't, for one reason or another. I'm a firm believer that leadership always is something that is going to be overlooked. That's why we spend so much time on it. And I think when you have a guy like Bryce Roberts who can come in and can identify and has two parents that played the game, and the heartbeat was slow in big moments, as opposed to beating out of your chest. When you just talk to Addison Rudaball, where she's sitting there like, okay, I'm going to get a 300, and your heart's pounding. I think there's people out there that are at their best when the light shines the brightest on you, and we're so lucky to do what we do every day, because we're interviewing these young men and women who are at their best when the lights are shining the brightest. And Bryce Roberts, Addison Rudaball, certainly no different.
Yeah, and when you look at it, I mean, they're both of them are led by great people, because the Rudaball family, obviously big, and they know how to obviously know how to raise their kids. And the Roberts also, when you've been put into that situation, or that when you've been put into that place by a great support system that has raised you up, then you're going to shine big, and that's just reality of it. And both the athletes that we interviewed today have been raised by really great families.
And I don't want to speak out of turn, but I think most families should understand, and if they don't, they need to, is that you can't just rely solely on your DNA to say, okay, my kid's going to be great, right? There's an old wives' tale of 10,000 hours, right, that you have to spend to be excellent at something, or to be proficient at something, or great at something. And 10,000, I mean, when you think about 10,000 hours, it seems like a lot, but when you break it down over the course of, from your time you're first dribbling a basketball, you first roll a ball down the alley, that's when it starts. And you determine how far it is to go. And the people around you just give you opportunities. Like, I can take my kid to the batting cages. He doesn't want to be there. He's not going to go, and he's not going to put in the work at the time. But the reality is, if you want to be great, if you want to be a state champion, or state qualifier or a regional champion or a district champion or someone that just comes off the bench, you got to put the time in. You know, this isn't something anymore that you can just be on the team because your parents want you to be there. Like, sports are right now more than ever, sports are a business, and business is competitive. Sports are competitive, and you can't just walk on to a varsity team and expect minutes if you haven't put in the time, you haven't put in the work. And that's why I admire most about not only these student athletes, Anthony, but these parents that are working full time. A lot of two parent home, full-time families, or single parent home where, you know, you're splitting time between mom's house and dad's house and, you know, all that stuff. And you're making it work, and the parents are making it work regardless because they're selfless and they're giving to their kid. It is tough, man, because there's practice everywhere you look. Everywhere you look.
And, you know, I used the blueprint analogy earlier when talking about how to beat Lutheran East, and you have the blueprint but don't have the tools. It's kind of the flip side when you're talking about, you know, having genetics or having the DNA. You got the tools. So some tools are just God-given. Like Bryce Roberts has height because his parents are tall, right? I mean, that's just –
Hey, congratulations on that too, by the way. That's
it's
genetics, not a path all of us get to walk, Bryce.
And like to an extent, your speed is kind of genetic. You're going to be a fast person. You know, you have to work to excel at it, but there you have a starting block that's genetics. But then you have the tools, but you also have to have the blueprint on how to build the championship culture. And if you don't have the blueprint, then you're not going to be able to do anything with the tools that you have. So it's kind of like the flip opposite of the analogy I used earlier in the show. Comes full circle.
You mentioned championship culture. There's a few teams that we lost this weekend, just shy of a district championship. Anthony, what team maybe or teams stood out to you this year that fell short of that district title?
Well, when I'm looking at LeBray, you got to give them a shout out because they fought so hard in that district championship. It was one of those games where you're watching it and you're going back and forth and you're like, I can't believe that one of these teams has to lose, because it's one of those games where you kind of understand that both teams have the coaching staff and the players and the talent and the leadership to deserve to go on to the next round. But that's the sports. You're going to have two good teams meet each other. One team can go on. So I think LeBray had a very good season, dealt with injury, had to get healthy again, kind of fought through that adversity and came out the other end, got to a district championship and had their chances to win it. I know that's going to sting for a while to have the ball with 9 seconds left and not be able to do anything and tie up the game. But like, trust me, you had LeBray, you had a fantastic season this year. And you should definitely not be, sad, discouraging about the season. One loss does not replace that. Another team that I think really had a great year is South Range. I mean, I know you talked about their game, and we don't have to dive into how it went more, but you look at what the Raiders kind of went through and the seniors they lost last year, and how many people kind of thought, well, this won't be as good of a year for South Range. They don't have Landon Moore anymore. They don't have Dylan Turvey, these guys that made them really good last year, and some things that are hard to replace, like driving to the basketball, finishing through contact, things that Landon Moore was really, really good at. And they stepped up this year. The seniors kind of put their foot in the ground and said, this is going to be a year where we're not going to miss a beat. We're going to get to another district championship. They did that for a third year in a row. They're building the blocks. You have to keep knocking at that door, right? You keep getting to that doorstep. You keep knocking at it. Eventually that program is going to kick it down because of what they've kind of put into place as a foundation. So South Range, I think, is another basketball team in this area that really had a strong season, should not be. And then Poland the same. I don't want to leave Poland out, but we talked about Poland as well at the start of the show. They played each other twice and they split. So they both obviously had a really, really great season. I think Poland had more expectations coming into the season than South Range did. So I think that's why South Range is one of those ones that sticks out just a little bit more, because there were a lot of people from the outside world that kind of looked at South Range like they don't have a shot at the NE8. This is Poland's to win. And I know Poland eventually won the NE8, but South Range was right there up until the last week of the season.
Yeah, I agree with you from that standpoint. I think there's a lot more to gain for South Range this year, being the naysayers and all the people that say they couldn't do it. And it was Poland's to win, and they did, in fact, win. That's why I kind of look at Poland. I say, man, they just got a tough draw. I mean, like we talked about with Lutheran East, anybody that plays the Falcons is going to be in for it's a bad day to be them. I guess is the best way to put it, because that's a tough team to compete against. And against again, the OHSA is never going to be able to be perfect when they put these districts together. I think there's some work to be done though, from that standpoint. And Poland's a team that they got it done more times than they didn't. And Eric Fender's a big piece of that. I think that he deserves a lot of recognition. And Poland just had a toughness to him this year. And they've always got that attitude, that chip on their shoulder, which I love. But, to be able to coach that. And basketball is a lot of times, at least in my opinion, one of the toughest sports to coach, because you got 5 guys on the floor that are always wanting the basketball. Football, you've got, 5 or 6 guys that aren't going to touch the football other than snapping it. And then you've got everybody else that craves the football. Basketball is different. It starts when you're a kindergartner and you always think you're open. And sometimes it never stops. I mean, I watched basketball here in athletics on Saturday, and my son, he's always open, or so he says. And you just want to be like, no, you're not. And even as a young coach, you want to be like, hey, you can tell my kid he's not open, and you can even bench them. But, when you get to the varsity level, it can be an interesting ride, because you've got guys that are supposed to be, 20, 30 point a night guys. And sometimes it's not going down. And then you've got other guys that, are hi, Mitch, that are supposed to be, just guys, right? And they end up scoring 20, 30 points. And then coach goes, well, we can do that. We can do that every night and implement that offense. It's very much a contest, basketball, of matchups. And as Tom Titus always says, it's a game of runs, and you just never know. Poland was able to do that all year. Another team, Ant, that I think we're leaving out on the obituaries here for the season, Heartland Christian, who has, I feel like every time you look at Heartland Christian and at the beginning of the season, you go, look what they lost. Josh Scott is able to funnel players in there from a standpoint of, this is who I need you to be, right? And I need you to fill these shoes and do this, and we'll be successful. And I think every player in that Lion locker room is ready to run through a wall for that coach and that coaching staff and for the school that they represent. And I cannot give enough credit to Josh Scott for what he's been able to do year after year after year and create not just great basketball players, but great young men.
And then in the same division, also a shout out to Western Reserve, who got all the way to the district championship, had a tremendous season, especially a tremendous tournament run, turned it on at the right time. Sometimes it's all about that. Sometimes it's all about getting hot at the right time and putting together in February. You went through some lumps in the regular season. Of course, Western Reserve did. They didn't probably have the regular season record they wanted, but it really doesn't matter once tournament time hits. If you turn it on in the right time and you find the right combination, the right motivation, you can get yourself pretty far in the tournament. We've seen plenty of teams in every sport be able to make those runs despite a maybe less than perfect regular season record. So shout out to Western Reserve for kind of hitting the restart button when tournament time came up and really working their way all the way to a district championship. Ran into a buzzsaw called Cornerstone Christian that has been giving our small schools trouble for a long time. But getting there was a tremendous feat for the Blue Devils as well.
And one more school that I think that we'd be laughed out of the gym if we didn't acknowledge, Grand Valley. What they've been able to do from last year to this year. 7 or 8 wins last year, and this year just lights out, and a tough loss the other day, whatever. I have a hell of a time, Anthony, understanding if 4:00 is the afternoon or the evening.
Well, it's afternoon, so wouldn't it be in the
Well,
afternoon?
I mean, you're safe there, but is it the evening?
See, to me, I would put evening, especially in the winter, like 5:00, because that's when the sun starts to go down a little bit, 5, 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
To me, when the sun starts to leave the sky a little bit, even a little bit, that's to me evening. 4:00, I say evening.
But
I think
like,
4 is late afternoon, and then
okay,
5's
so
early evening, and then 6
we're
is
on the
evening.
same we're on the same page
Yeah.
with that. And I'm not trying to get away from the Grand Valley talk,
Right.
but I'm putting those things together on Saturday, and I'm like, okay, is it tonight? Is it today? Is it what it? And like, because we get yelled at for like the smallest details of
Right.
things that absolutely do not matter at all. And I was like, man, is 4 o'clock this evening? So I made a rule in my head, and maybe this helps somebody out. It's the DJ Yoakley afternoon evening rule. 5 o'clock is the evening because most times people 9 to 5ers, right? What are you doing this evening? Okay, it's after work, 5
Right.
p.m. We're leaving that after the evening, and then the afternoon is 4 o'clock. We're gonna go with that.
Right.
Afternoon, 4 o'clock. Evening is 5 post. So, I mean, there's nice bit of where it gets tricky is if we start doing overnighters or something like that at like
Right.
1 a.m. Is it this morning or is it this
Oh.
evening? And then we got a real problem. But
Yeah.
we'll wait for that. We might just change up
Sometimes
the
I get
entire
caught
narrative.
saying, like when I'm up at 1 a.m., I'll say tomorrow, and it's like, well, technically, it's today. And then
Yeah.
that's one that gets really weird too. Here's another. I mean, while we're on this kind of tangent, this is an argument I get into some people with. If you're talking about, let's say Friday, like this upcoming Friday, is that next Friday or is that this Friday? If you're just going to tell someone, hey, on Saturday,
No, it's this
Saturday,
Friday.
right? There are
It's this
people that will
Friday.
say next Saturday because it's the next Saturday on the calendar.
No, they're wrong.
But to me, next Saturday is like not this one, but the next one.
No, because next Saturday
Right.
would be the next
Yeah,
Saturday
the
after
next one.
this.
Yeah, this Saturday,
Yeah.
next Saturday.
This Saturday hasn't happened yet.
Right.
Like if it is Saturday, so it's Monday.
Right.
Next Monday is
Is a week
the
from
Monday
now.
coming. Yeah.
Right.
Like this Monday is the one we're standing on. The other people are just ridiculous. Like, no,
I know.
how many? Okay, next Friday. Well, that could be 30 Fridays from now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you can't skip. This isn't Monopoly.
Yeah.
Come on, people.
The argument I hear is it's the next Friday on the calendar. So like it's literally the next one that you see. And so I'm like, no, but that's this Friday. But
they must
it's a
be
whole thing.
subscribing to that Canadian calendar.
I know. Yeah. Dang.
Sack-
They're
sack-
infiltrating every part of culture, man. It's
Every
terrible.
single part of it. All right, it is time for. Oh, by the way, Grand Valley, great season. I'm
Right.
like, so sorry.
We got off on a tangent. Also, Hoban girls, great season. They got to the regional finals. I want to give them a
That
shout
was-
out too.
To me, that
Um,
might be the biggest stunner.
They were
that
playing a
might be
team
the
that kind of handled them in the regular season. So the fact that they were able to make the adjustments in the tournament, play really close basketball. They had the lead with about a minute and a half left. It was 46-45. They had the ball. Just one of those plays where Brush, a group of 5 seniors that didn't want their season to end, they made a really good steal, a little pickpocket turnover, kind of let Brush settle down a little bit because Hoban was on a 10-0 run. It went from 45-36 Brush to 46-45 Hoban within like 2 minutes of the fourth quarter. So Brush was scrambling and really on their heels. And that turnover fast break layup got Brush to be able to take a little bit of a breath a little bit, slow things down. And then they ended the game on a 6-0 run to win 51-46. So a tough one for Hoban, but that was a Brush team that really, first game of the season, of course, but really did handle Hoban in the regular season. A very good Brush team. And I thought Hoban really fought tooth and nail in that whole game.
And just confirming, and I'm going to sound like a real idiot here. That's it for girls basketball, right?
That was the last team standing. So that is it for girls basketball. Boys, we have Hoban still advancing. They won the district championship right after the girls lost the regional championship in the same place against the same team. So they're advancing. Louisville moving on. Canfield moving on. JFK moving on, and Camel moving on. So we have 5 teams left in boys basketball,
which is incredible. And I feel like I left on Saturday night from Cleveland Heights. By the way, the Kelseys, and I love their gym. Their school is ridiculous. The Kelseys podcast, they make it sound like it's a dump. It is gorgeous.
I think it probably was when they left, but they've probably fed some money into it since they've had careers.
It was, I
bet.
I went in thinking that I might have to keep a little personal protection in the car, a little concealed carry from the way that they talk about it on their podcast.
Yeah.
And you just never know. And then we roll up. I'm like, this might be one of the most beautiful schools I've been to. I was completely caught way off guard, but in a good way. In a good way. I didn't know where the hell the gym was. I can tell you that. I mean, the school's that big.
Right.
I had to walk across campus, which is the entire school is just built sideways, and it's incredible. Although, for being two football guys, and they have more pro athletes that they've graduated from that school.
Right.
There's some schools around here that I think make Heights look a little rough.
Yeah.
A little rough. Their football field. Just saying. Their basketball gym is dynamic. Anthony, you would have loved it. Their volleyball net comes down from the ceiling.
Ooh, that's cool. West Branch does that too.
I've never seen it before. So I
Where it's kinda
apologize to
hanging.
West Branch. Yeah,
Yeah.
I never, because we always had Janaki, and now we've got the school that does it. I've never had a chance to get to West Branch.
It's pretty new in West Branch. I think they put it in last year. So, but it kind of, instead of being the poles that hold up the net, it's kind of dropped down from the ceiling, and the net hangs from it.
Speaking of nets, our safety net always, Mike Swinehart says Beaver and Mohawk still alive as well.
Right.
Both. See, that's why Mikey is the best. We have Mike Swinehart because he's like,
Keeping us in
hey,
check.
hey, buttholes, don't forget about Pennsylvania. Like, he knows. He knows. and
It's
that's
so
why
hard
he
because
is-
with them, the loss doesn't end their season. So it's, the Mohawk got third place in the WPIL. They're still moving on. So yeah, they're still alive. I have to get used to seeing a loss in Pennsylvania and not equating that to their season is over.
it's quite frankly the most illogical setup I think I've ever seen.
We're still
You
trying
know,
to get used to it. We'll get there.
Pennsylvania, you're weird. Like in
We
more
love you,
ways
but
than
you're-
one.
We love you, but you're weird.
That's why we love you. It's time for the Joe Dickey Electric What's Your Spark, presented by Joe Dickey Electric. They are everything electrical. You can visit them on the web 24/7, 365 at DickeyElectric.com. What was that?
Well, I thought you were frozen or you lost your audio for a second. I was like, what happened?
Wow. My computer's been off all day, and I've been real nervous because you know what happens when my computer is off, because I've lost complete control of this thing before. It's possessed. It's possessed. I'm going to get an exercise right after the broadcast here. What is your spark, Mr. Hartwig?
My spark goes back to something that we were talking about at the beginning of this show. We were throwing a little fun shade at the Norwayne student section and the chants that we hear. I'm giving a shout out. Well, not a shout out, a call out to student sections in high school, whether it be in regionals. Obviously, we're in regionals, state, mind you. Let's get a little bit more originality from these student sections. I hear the same chant everywhere I go. Start the buses, scoreboard. You can't do that. I want to hear some originality student section chants out there. I want to hear some stuff I never heard before. That's respectable. All right, don't be shouting out. But at the same time, yeah, I want to hear some new stuff. I would love to hear some student section chants that I've never heard before.
You are asking for it, pal.
I know.
You are asking. They're
They're
going to
gonna hear
see
stuff.
you.
They're gonna hear stuff.
Beep, 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 beep. Boom. Locked on you. It's going to be coming flying
Bring it.
at the dude in the wheelchair.
Yep. Bring it.
I love it. There were some original ones. I've heard some original ones. Nuts
Maybe
and
I've
bolts
just been
is
in the
never
wrong-
a
maybe
bad
I've just
one.
been in the wrong student sections.
I mean, here's the thing is I was going to say that girls don't get a lot of student sections, and they don't, but they don't get a lot of rowdy student sections a lot of times.
Mhm.
And I think that depends on the program. Like, I've seen Crestview get some rowdy student sections, and they're good. They're good, and they're original.
Crestview's good.
They,
Like I remember even Crestview volleyball. Like okay, those guys get a pass. They got into it. So, but of the whole, I've just heard a lot of chants for the last 5 years that I just keep hearing. And I'm like, let's get some new chants. No, I don't want to hear you can't do that anymore. It's just kind of like, okay, you can't do that. Okay.
well, I think there's a lot more restrictions now than there were when I went to school, even, and it's one of those things like you got to be careful what you say because like you've got a dean of students right there, and they've got your number, you know. So I think there's things that kids want to say, they just don't want to say them in front of other people. Or
they don't
get
say them
trouble
in they don't say them in unison. I've heard the rogue kid come out and say some stuff to the opposing player while they're on their side of the court. They just won't say them in a unison chant.
I like the one that I do like is Salem West Branch. I mean, they always have great student sections. Canfield student section is elite. I will tell you that by sitting right next. I mean, we're right next to them when we broadcast. So like we can hear them better than we can hear even the PA address. Ken English, by the way, shout out. And the officials even coming to the table, we can hear them better than we can hear coaches and things going on. So student section, I'm with you, Anthony. That's a great spark. But my spark is going to go to a gentleman, and hopefully a lot of you guys watch this. I got to see it right as I got home. A guy by the name of John Felix Anthony Cena Jr. 7,786 days he served as a hero, a baby face, if you will, of the WWE. And on Saturday, finally, and The Rock means finally, he turned into a bad guy. He went heel, and he's going to fight Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania this year, which means, Anthony, probably not a whole lot to you, but to our wrestling fans, especially our fathers and mothers who are wrestling fans, it is our generation's superhero and favorite against the new generation, my son's favorite wrestler, Cody Rhodes. What a time it's going to be. What a world we live in right now.
You nailed me. I just root for Roman Reigns because he played football at Georgia Tech. That's all I know.
Just keep doing the 10-7, 25 splits or whatever you guys were talking about earlier. You worry about that. I'll take care of us on the pop culture aspect of things, my friend. It's going to be fun. And we've got so much coming up in late April with for the Masters, I believe.
Masters.
Maybe that's a little earlier this year. I can't remember. Like there's so much going on in late March and late April that I'm like buzzing like a bee. I'm just like eked up for, because a lot of that stuff is happening while we are in Myrtle Beach, which, by the way, man, tough look for Myrtle Beach this morning with all the wildfires.
Yes.
Tough look. I mean, we were watching the news before we left this morning for school, and Z was bumming hard because they were saying about evacuations. And Z's like, that means we can't go to Myrtle Beach. I was like, don't you say that.
They got a couple of months to clear things up.
Your muffins and you shut your mouth. We're going to Myrtle Beach one way or another. Pal.
We'll fight the fires ourselves if we have to.
We stay on the beach. Like they're not going to get us. We'll throw a tent up on the beach. We're going to Myrtle Beach, Z-Man. End of story. All right, we got a couple more before we get out of here. Sam says, I could not be a bigger Cena fan than now. I'm not a Rhodes fan. Heel turn. For some reason, Anthony, that does not surprise me that Sam likes the bad guys. Does not surprise me because he is a agitator. He is the master agitator, as a matter of fact. WrestleMania. Oh, that's what it was. See? Safety net strikes again. Mike Swinehart. WrestleMania, NFL draft, back-to-back weekends, I believe. Which, by the way, did you watch any of the combine this week?
I watched a little bit of it. I watched the running backs all storm the end zone when the one guy scored, and I was like, "This, who's going to do a backflip?" Yeah,
yeah. They the DBs do that. The running backs do that. I want to see the big boys do that. Imagine it. I mean, you see how they were running? They were sub-5 offensive linemen, defensive linemen.
That's ridiculous.
What?
Like, I mean, I can't imagine someone that's 300 plus pounds that's that athletic coming after me. Like,
imagine eating the last piece of ham at that table. Like, you're not getting away.
Like, my mind, you shouldn't be that big and that quick at the same time. It doesn't compute with me. It just doesn't. It's not fair.
It's
nature,
wrong,
man.
And that's the stuff I think about. I'm watching it, and it's playing right now, and they have like this person versus this person, and you're like, well, this person is an absolute dog in the NFL, and they just blew past that person. What is the future going to be like? Incredible. We've got some big stuff coming. Prospect. That's all I could think about all weekend with this stuff going on was Prospect. And that is going to be unreal. And it's coming. I got the passwords. We're ready to go. So get ready.
So close.
YSN Prospect coming your way. I know you've been thinking, we've been saying that for a long time. And we have. Feel like it's the end of the Jimmy Kimmel show and we're thanking Matt Damon. It's just never going to happen. It is, folks. We've got it. If you don't know what we're talking about, go to ysnprospect.com right now. Check it out. Beta phase. We will be adding athletes very, very soon. So be on the lookout for that. Anthony, once again, we want to thank our sponsors, Greenwood Chevrolet, from the first part of the show. Naturally, they've been with us for a long ride, and they go the extra mile for you. And, of course, the people that know us very well and love us very much, and we love them right back. It is Toyota of Warren, Tino, and all the great folks over there. If you're looking for a new or used ride, make sure you're checking out those two spots. Greenwood Chevrolet, Toyota of Warren, proud sponsors and supporters of what we do here at Your Sports Network. Anthony, big show tomorrow. Who we got?
Tomorrow we got Sway Rodriguez coming in right at the top of the show at noon, and then he'll be followed by his head coach, Nick Canarino, talking some Camel basketball and district championship Red Devils for the second time in 3 seasons. They won it in 2022, and now they come back. That's actually 3 seasons. Second time in 4 seasons, excuse me. But they've won it. They know how to win district championships. So here we are again, talking about Camel district championships. We'll bring Coach and Sway on tomorrow.
They were thanking the Angels on Saturday, and we'll be thanking the Devils on Tuesday right here on YSN Live. For Anthony, I am DJ. We'll see you next time right here, YSN Live. High noon. YSN thanks you for watching this presentation of Your Sports Network. For stories, stats, and more, go to ysnlive.com.